During the pandemic, Book It closed like everyone else, and we decided to pivot to an all audio season. So we adapted pieces for an entirely new medium, which was very exciting for us. It was a way for us to stay in touch with our patrons and our community, keep artists working, keep our staff working. We also pivoted our arts education program from in-person offerings to digital and virtual offerings. But the pandemic meant that Book It had to scale back significantly. The size of our staff, the size of our budget decreased exponentially to the point where we were operating at half the size of our normal operating budget. No matter our efforts to keep as many people as employed as possible and as long as possible, we were still seriously hit by the closures and not being able to be in front of people.
We had planned to come back slowly. We started our season off with 2 audio plays, and then our first show back was set to be Beowulf by Julian Glover.
We were very wise to start with Beowulf with a solo show because it's a lot easier to control the environment and you just have less factors that you're working with in a solo show.
We were not prepared for Omicron, so we wanted to be as careful and compassionate and safe as humanly possible. And in order to do that, we had to move Beowulf into the summer.
While we didn't get to go into full production, though, with Beowulf, with live audience, it was still incredibly helpful to learn from that process.
Coming back is a whole new world. We're relearning in some ways how to do the work we've always done.
What are our resources to ensure that when we bring people back, we're doing it properly and in the safest way possible? So it was a lot of gathering of resources. SAG, since we'd already had a working relationship with SAG, OSHA resources, IATSE had pretty clear rules at that time. And then we were waiting for Actors Equity to get more clear guidelines, but they were definitely the last folks to come through.
So there's the lift of restarting a big machine, a whole bunch of folks who are now coming together to do work again that they haven't done in this way in a long time. That's taking a lot of energy, a lot of resources, a lot of thinking, but also doing it in an entirely new container. The world emerging from and still in a pandemic environment is something entirely new.
What do we want to come back to the theater to see? What is it that we've been missing? And a large part of that has been, I think, catharsis. We go to the theater to feel something, to experience viewpoints that aren't our own, stories that aren't our own, but we can still empathize with.
The pandemic and being shut down gave us a unique opportunity to think about who we are, and we have a really strong sense of what type of work we want to do in the future, how we want to treat our artists, how we want to treat our staff, what it's going to take to be a fully anti-racist, equitable organization, what are the ways in which Book It can be better partners in our community, how can we work with our schools in stronger, more interesting ways.
My hope for the season of shows is to open up our idea of what literature is. The written word extends back thousands of years, and there is so much there that we have forgotten or don't know about or slipped beneath our radar, or because of systemic prejudices or just bad luck, we're never able to make it into the sort of general human consciousness. And so with just those 3 titles, Beowulf, Mrs. Caliban, or The Bonesetter's Daughter by Amy Tan, we are trying to find ways to expand and interface with this incredibly huge, varied, diverse world and try to bring just a little bit of it into what we're presenting to people.
I am so excited for what's next for Book It. It's been incredible what we've done over the last 2 years together, and we've just touched the tip of the iceberg on what's out there, what beautiful things can be made on our stages, over the airwaves, with students. I am just so thrilled that we're back with you.
We find ourselves emerging from this terrible time stronger, better than ever, and I think more ready and willing to take on some of the challenges that theater companies are going to be facing over these next few years. So I think we have a really exciting couple of decades ahead of us.